Morbid facts about Mike Tyson, Part 2. While visiting a zoo in the late 1980s, Tyson noticed an alpha silverback gorilla bullying all the others. He offered the zookeeper 10 grand to open the gorilla cage so that he could go in there and smash that silverback's snot box. Luckily for the gorilla, the worker declined the offer.
I'm back, your boy FITCICDE, and today we're going to be taking a look at these creepy TikTok videos. If you guys like the video, make sure to like the video. Let's try to get to 2,000 likes this video. If you like the chain, check the link down in the description. If you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, because there's going to be a lot more than just TikToks on this channel, trust.
This is everything that happened on the news today, but it's going to be simplified in 60 seconds. People are now thinking that they finally solved the Disney Mandela effect and it's messing with their heads. Basically, a lot of people remember in old Disney movies, Tinkerbell would actually fly around the castle in the intro and like do the dot thing with the sparkles. But apparently, if you go back and look at all of those movies, it never actually existed. Somebody actually just found Tinkerbell in the intro of one of these movies on an old DVD from a movie called Little Einstein. So we were not imagining it and it was real. This asteroid from 4.5 billion years ago unlocks a breakthrough about life on Mars. Okay. So this is an asteroid from Mars that landed back on Earth in 2011. And basically, they have now found the residue of hot water on Mars, which would have been a very long time ago, but they found it. And that is crucial for life on Earth. So NASA just shared some of the sharpest photos ever that have been taken of Jupiter. And then for everybody that's interested, including me, this is what it looks like, which is crazy. This new research is now showing that cows can actually have best friends, and they do get stressed out whenever they're separated. So this research has now revealed that cows form close bonds with specific companions and experience stress whenever they're separated from them. So leave them alone. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
What an absolutely insane twist. So this father went missing in August while on a fishing trip. Police found his kayak, his keys, his car, wallet, license, but Ryan was nowhere to be found. And for the next 54 days, massive money and hours were spent by search and rescue teams, scouring the lake using divers, drones, sonars, canines, all while Ryan's wife and 3 children thought he had tragically drowned. But now police believe that something very different may have happened. They recently discovered that he had cleared his browsing history the day he disappeared. He inquired about moving funds to a foreign bank. He took out a new life insurance policy. He bought a new passport, and he even replaced his computer's hard drive. But here is the craziest part. Authorities also learned that Ryan had been communicating with a woman from Uzbekistan. Pretty specific, right? And 2 months before Ryan disappeared, this video was posted on TikTok.
Advice on anything?
I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Say that one more time.
Do I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Do you have family there?
No.
Why do you want to go?
Meet a woman. I want to find a companion that I'm content with.
I think that requires you to divorce someone first. Do you just feel like there's no love left between you guys?
Diminished.
Now, another plot twist, authorities say that they don't believe this man is Ryan, which begs the question, how many married men are speaking to women in Uzbekistan? But what they do believe is that he is alive, he faked his own death, and that he is currently somewhere in Eastern Europe. The sheriff said, he wasted a lot of my time and it cost me a lot of money, and we're looking into what charges could be filed.
Like, why is there so many men going over to Uzbekistan? It's probably like some website that you click on. It's like, find Uzbekistan's girls now. They're here for you. Something like that. I swear to God.
Behind me built a homemade cage for his head to stop smoking. He then gave his wife the keys and only she could open it during meals. The man's name is Ibrahim Yücel. He is a Turkish man. He was smoking 2 packs daily for 26 years and decided he wanted to stop one day. So he built a homemade cage out of copper. In my opinion, this thing looks like a torture device. And he didn't just wear this at home, he wore this outside, going to work, running his errands. He was dedicated to stop smoking. He started doing this in 2013, and I believe he is still doing this to this day. The only thing he could get through the cage was a straw from a bottle of water and maybe some crackers. He designed it in a way that you couldn't even sneak a cigarette inside there. He definitely knew he would be having withdrawals and planned this accordingly. Down here is a picture of his wife unlocking the cage for him, and over here is more of a close-up photo of the cage. And then here's a picture of him with the cage off right here. He's talking on the phone. I'm assuming he's having a meal and he's just chatting away. But honestly, props to him. If it works, it works. I'm not sure if I have any followers from Turkey, but if I do, let me know if you've seen this guy around. And let me know what you think about this story.
I feel like that's an extreme. And I'm thinking, like, couldn't bro just, like, realistically just take it off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like rehab might have been a better solution than that. But if that works for you, then I guess it works. He's only got to do it for probably like a year or 6 months.
Weird facts you need to know about. If you're coughing uncontrollably, just raise your hands above your shoulder and it will stop. Did you know that TikTok doesn't let you type Area 51? When crossing the street at night, turn on your phone's flashlight and point it toward oncoming traffic. If you think you're being followed, turn right 4 times, since you'll get to the same place they shouldn't be following you anymore. If they do, you might be in trouble. Don't walk down the stairs with hands in your pockets. If you type your big forehead, you get a warning. Blue color attracts mosquitoes and 2 times more than any other. Strawberries can also be white and yellow. Some even can taste like pineapples. You can't unalive yourself by holding your breath. If you search these coordinates on Google Maps, you will find a man dragging a body. Follow for more.
If you're someone like me and you religiously wear black, definitely keep your phone flashlight on when you're crossing traffic at night. Trust me, it will definitely save your life. Or if you're walking on the sidewalk, because some people don't know how to drive.
Nobody in the entire world can visit this island. Okay, so majority of Americans don't know about the Forbidden Island in Hawaii that is owned by one single family and nobody could visit. The island is called Niihau and it's extremely different from anything else in the United States. There is only a population of 70 people and they have no access to paved roads, telephone service, no running water, and the majority of the island lives off welfare checks from the US government. And with such harsh living conditions, it makes you wonder why anybody would even live on this island. And the real question is, if there's nothing to hide here, why can't anybody visit? Well, this rule that doesn't allow any outsiders onto the island was actually written into the agreement by the natives when they sold it to the Robinson family, all the way back in 1864. The Robinson family bought the island for $10,000 in gold, which is $325,000 today. And the crazy thing is that this family still owns the island. The Robinsons are also very focused on preserving the Hawaiian culture on this island that the natives did, so they go to church every Sunday, banned long hair for men, and kept the official Hawaiian language. But my whole opinion on this island is that if nobody can visit there and there's only 70 people on it, there's gotta be some crazy stuff going on there, right? There's just no way these 70 people are just completely normal living on this isolated island that nobody could visit. Let me know your thoughts on this, and also let me know if you've ever heard of this.
I wonder if the creators of Niihau Kailan made the name off of that island.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There's a 1 in 3 chance police will never identify your killer if you were murdered in the United States. If the sun exploded now, you wouldn't know about it for another 8 minutes. 20% of children report hearing voices. There are 40 supervolcanoes around the world capable of claiming 1 billion lives. And we are about 24,000 years overdue for an eruption. The air you breathe in train stations is 15% human skin. There are over 200 dead bodies on top of Mount Everest, because retrieving them is such a risk. They serve as markers for other hikers. When you die, your house cat is going to want to eat you. Speaking of pets, dogs like squeaky toys because they mimic the screams of their prey. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 2.
Morbid facts about Mike Tyson, Part 2. While visiting a zoo in the late 1980s, Tyson noticed an alpha silverback gorilla bullying all the others. He offered the zookeeper 10 grand to open the gorilla cage so that he could go in there and smash that silverback's snot box. Luckily for the gorilla, the worker declined the offer. Here's a 1997 photo of Las Vegas police facing Mike Tyson after he'd just bitten off the ear of Evander Holyfield. Tyson claimed he was in a primal blacked out state and literally wanted to kill his opponent. Mike had 6 biological children, but his little girl Exodus tragically died when she was only 4 years old. In 2009, Exodus was playing on a treadmill when she accidentally died from strangulation after falling and catching her neck on a power cord. 3 years after signing with Don King, Tyson didn't even know that he had a fan club. When he finally went there, he found a letter from a woman asking if Tyson could call her dying little boy. Tyson immediately called, hung up, cursed out Don King, then started to cry. He said that the call was 1 year too late.
Dang, Tyson, yeah, bro's been through so much trauma, man. Still thinking about that Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight to this day. It's been like damn near 2 weeks. I'm literally upset as hell that he got embarrassed like that. I don't really know if this is true, but I've been seeing a lot of things online about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul both getting their boxing license revoked for 24 days. I heard because of the speculation that it might have been scripted or fake, or, you know what I'm saying, something going on in the background. But I heard that they potentially got their license suspended for a month.
If you or someone that you know has small children, please watch this video until the end because it could save their life. Basically, Boppy baby pillows are being recalled after suffocating 8 children to their end. What happened was that these 8 children were laid down to sleep on these pillows and woke up lifeless. The recall includes the original, preferred, and Pottery Barn Kids Boppy baby pillows, and if you own any of these, you can take them to a local store for a refund. These are being recalled all the way back from 2004 to September of this year, so if you own any of these from any of those years, you might be at risk. So please never put any babies or young children to sleep in any of these, and if you know anyone with young children, please send them this video so they don't miss this life-saving information.
News that will give you hope. This woman swept out to sea while at the beach was rescued after 37 hours of drifting over 50 miles in an inflatable swim ring. Overdoses have decreased for the first time in over 5 years. This stranger saved a 4-year-old from a flying puck at a hockey game. Every country has now banned the use of leaded gasoline in cars, with Algeria being the last one a couple years ago. Bruno was able to get a fresh start and a new life after 473 days in a shelter. A study of over 2 million people found that eating cheese is healthy for aging because of the lower stress that you experience in life. The amount of sugar consumed by kids in the United Kingdom halved in 1 year after a sugar tax was introduced. Scientists have developed a glowing dye that sticks to cancer cells, which helps scientists prevent cancer from coming back. This nearly extinct pupfish has hit a 25-year high with their population. There are less than 200 of them in one single cave in the Mojave Desert of Nevada.
You know what's funny about that sugar tax? I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, it's cool, you know what I'm saying, the tax on sugar, but they probably replaced it with artificial sugars like high fructose corn syrup and all that garbage, I swear to God.
Here are 3 real ways to survive Ohio. The land of Ohio is a mysterious pocket dimension located within the continental United States that is widely regarded as being one of the most dangerous places known to man. With that being said, the easiest way to guarantee your survival of this state is to simply avoid visiting it altogether. This should be a relatively easy task since no one actually lives in Ohio. Remember, if you think you have family or friends to visit there, that's just the demons whispering in your ear, and those thoughts should be ignored entirely. Secondly, if you do somehow wind up in this desolate place, remember to ignore the locals at all costs. Their lonely state might inspire you to take pity on them and engage them in conversation, but be warned, if you speak to them, you will become as they are. Finally, above all else, you'll need to try and keep moving at all times in one direction. Time and space work differently in the state of Ohio, and it may feel like you've been walking in circles for hours or even days. But remember, every step that you take is a step closer to freedom. Leave a comment if you're enjoying this series, and if you know anyone from Ohio, tag them. It might help them escape.
That makes sense. You know who's from Ohio? The Paul brothers. So that makes sense. We've just been stuck in a schizophrenic episode our whole lives, and none of it actually is real.
Did you know that Art the Clown played the Grinch in a horror movie? Yes, there is a horror slasher version of the Grinch, and it's called The Mean One. The story follows Cindy Lou Who after the Grinch kills her parents, and she grows up and she decides that she's gonna make it her life's mission to kidnap the Grinch and to kill him for what he did to her. And Art the Clown himself, David Howard Thornton, plays the horror version of the Grinch, the mean one, and he brings so much personality to the character even through all of the paint and prosthetics. Like, look at these cool shot comparisons. This is the original Grinch, and here we have the horror version of the Grinch. The Mean One is definitely considered a horror comedy, so keep that in mind if you choose to watch it. It's also extremely bloody and extremely silly, which I feel like you would expect. My favorite part of the movie is when Cindy Lou Who, as a child, is being interviewed by cops to try to get an idea of what this guy looks like. The sketch artist draws the little girl's description and then in all seriousness is like, "Sweetie, is this what he looked like?" It's really funny that David Howard Thornton has gotten to play a horror version of Santa as Art the Clown, and he's also gotten to be a horror version of the Grinch. Pretty cool.
Why you should always respect Mother Nature.
You should, of course, never do what this guy did in that video, and viewer discretion advised for this one because there is no happy ending here. The man in the video that I showed you is 28-year-old Jacob Cockle. Jacob's passion was surfing and pretty much anything ocean-related, so he felt like the water was his element. This is likely why Jacob thought he would be able to best a whirlpool when it came to swimming by it. Initially, when Jacob jumped into the whirlpool, nothing went wrong. There were about 28 minutes of footage of him floating around on top, and this is because he had the safety of a wetsuit. Wetsuits trap a lot of air, they're very buoyant, and they're made out of neoprene. This particular whirlpool was not strong enough to take Jacob down when he's floating on the surface. However, Jacob made a grave mistake. At one point or another, Jacob decided that it would be a good idea to dive underwater to get more footage. This caused the buoyancy of his suit to drop, and the whirlpool became strong enough and sucked him down. Jacob was unfortunately not able to escape from the whirlpool's grasp.
Photos with disturbing backstories.
By the garden of the willow tree and with me.
Daisy,
Give me your answer, do.
I'm half crazy.
All for the love of you.
Myths you still believe about Canada. Canadians see snow year-round. Well, the truth is that though the winters can be harsh, most of the country's population experiences summers that can make a Californian sweat. Most Canadians live near the Canada-US border and thus experience similar weather to what you'd expect in places like Boston or New York. Toronto is the capital of Canada. Well, Toronto does have the largest population and is probably the most famous Canadian city, but it's actually Ottawa, another Ontario city that's the capital. As the center of political power, Queen Victoria chose Ottawa to be Canada's capital on December 31st, 1857. It was determined that with its location being on the border between Canada East and Canada West, its excellent defensive position and its access to two different rivers to cross the country in either direction, Ottawa was the perfect city for the title.
Skinwalker caught on camera.
Please pardon the interruption. At this time, we are going to ask that students and staff proceed to conduct an internal lockdown. I repeat, this is not a drill. Please proceed to internal lockdown. 911 has been called. Remain in internal lockdown until instructed otherwise by a uniformed officer.
Okay, you guys, I need everybody right away. Back corner and down. Eight. No cell phones?
Get as close to the wall as you can, crowd it together. Marcus, get this way. Get this way. Get away from the window. Davis, hurry up. Get away from the window. Press up to these desks. Hurry up. Guys, grab these desks.
I mean, I don't know if I was supposed to see a skinwalker, but I didn't see any skinwalker. And not only that, it's like, if we're going through a lockdown, why is there cameras recording the lockdown? That's not a drill, apparently. That not a drill phrase when you're at school is so scary because you're like, dude, why am I potentially about to die in school somewhere I don't even really want to be. Like, come on, bro. I could have just skipped and be good.
Feminine things that were originally made for men. In Persia, men wore high heels to protect their feet. Then the Europeans looked and said, let's use them too, but they did it to show that they were rich, powerful, and masculine. In their culture, the higher the heel, the more masculine you were. Bags were also made exclusively for men. This is the oldest bag ever found made for men. It is entirely decorated with dog teeth because that was the fashion of the time. A system very similar to the disposable pads we have today was originally used in World War I to stop soldiers from bleeding. That's when a nurse noticed and thought, we can put this in our underwear and we no longer need to use rags as pads. Skirts were originally worn by men throughout the history of the world.
A killer clown was just released from prison in Florida. This case dates back to May 26, 1990, when 40-year-old Marlene Warren opened her front door. In front of her was a clown holding balloons and a basket of flowers. Marlene stated, "How nice," before the clown fatally shot her in the mouth, then calmly walked away. Authorities suspected 26-year-old Sheila Keene for years, who was having an affair with the victim's husband, Michael. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough evidence to convict her. 12 years later, Michael and Sheila wed in Las Vegas, moved to Tennessee, and started running this burger joint called the Purple Cow. They lived happily as if nothing happened, and Sheila even had the audacity to dress up as a clown one year. But in 2014, Florida authorities received a grant that allowed them to reopen the case. Advances in DNA technology allowed them to test a brown hair at the crime scene. It belonged to Sheila Keene, who was finally arrested in 2017 and pleaded not guilty. But after 7 years in jail, prosecutors gave her a deal in April of 2023. In exchange for pleading guilty to second-degree murder, she received a 12-year sentence. A Florida law allowed credit for good behavior, and that is why she was released on November 2nd of this year.
Here's a test to see if you or someone you know has thalassophobia. Thalassophobia is the fear of deep or open water. Starting off at level 1, we have this image, and if you look at the baby's feet, you can see there's nothing. And that's what freaks people out, the fact that you can't see anything but feel like there's something watching you from below. If this freaked you out, don't watch the rest, because level 2 is even worse. Level 2, we have a person falling into a huge open body of water. And to make it worse, there's some sort of squid-like creature right in the corner. And level 3, we have the worst one yet. A person floating above a huge snake-like creature that we have no idea how big it is. And if you made it this far, congrats. Make sure you send this to a friend to see if they can pass the test and hit the follow button for more.
If I'm being honest, I don't have that phobia, but who wouldn't be freaked out by that? You see someone floating and you see a snake, a huge snake under them. You're telling me you see that, you're going to be like, okay, that's cool. Like, obviously you're going to freak out. I feel like the first one was a little bit more scary than the other ones. I feel like the other ones were like kind of fake.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. This map shows if your county has a McDonald's or not. If you're in a red county on this map, then you do not have a McDonald's, and there are 793 counties without them. This map shows the average weekly grocery bill across each state in the United States. Wisconsin has the lowest because Midwest states have the most farming around them. Hawaii and Alaska are the highest because of their isolation from the mainland food production. This map shows how fertility rates have decreased across the entire United States over the last 20 years. Louisiana had a tiny 0.3% decrease, while Utah had an over 30% decrease in fertility. This map shows the most common transportation methods in the United States to get to work. Most people in the United States are in a green county where it is driving alone. Orange counties are where people walk the most, yellow counties are where people take taxis or motorcycles more, and the red counties are public transportation counties, which is just San Francisco and New York City.
I was about to say that because like I go to the city sometimes and the city is just straight public transportation. So I was like, it's probably like the city in one other place, and it really was the city in one other place. So it's hilarious.
Everybody's talking about this new horror movie. It's awesome. Let's watch. I haven't watched it tonight. This movie is so scary. I promise.
This is a serial killer you haven't heard of that has more victims than Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and Jeffrey Dahmer combined. The Sunday morning slasher. Carl Eugene Watts targeted mostly young, attractive women walking alone in the dark. He would stab, slash, strangle, and drown them. Watts told a psychiatrist that they had evil eyes, and it wasn't enough to murder these women, he had to kill their spirits too, by burning personal items or tossing them in a sewer. His first victim was 19-year-old Gloria Steele, a mother and college student who was stabbed 33 times in her apartment. Michigan authorities knew he was responsible for dozens of murders, but they never had enough evidence to convict him. In 1982, Watts fled to Texas and resumed his murders, killing at least 12 more, including the youngest victim, 14-year-old Emily Lacroix. Now let's get to the moment he was finally caught. On May 23, 1982, Carl Watts choked Lori Lister until she was unconscious, then dragged her up the apartment steps. He used her keys to open the door and came face to face with Lori's roommate, Melinda Aguilar. Melinda was choked by Carl Watts as well, but this time she pretended to black out. He bound her hands behind her back and put her in a separate bedroom, while he filled up a bathtub where he planned to drown Lori Lister. With her hands still bound behind her back, Melinda quietly locked the bedroom door and proceeded to jump off a second-story balcony, where she yelled at a woman who was drinking coffee outside to call police. Unfortunately, Texas prosecutors offered immunity to Watts for the 13 murders he confessed to, in exchange for a 60-year sentence. Oddly enough, he was almost released from prison in 2006, but Michigan authorities were able to convict him of 2 murders before that could happen, and he died in prison in 2007 from prostate cancer.
Creepy facts that'll give you nightmares. When anglerfish mate, the male literally fuses itself into the female and the two live together as one fish for the rest of their lives. I'm kinda concerned as to how we know this, but if you feed a human body to pigs, they eat every last bit of it. There's a place near Mexico City called the Island of the Dolls. This place is home to thousands of dolls that are there to honor a girl who drowned in the 1950s. Many people say that this place is one of the most haunted places on Earth. And finally, this is Mike the chicken. After Mike's head got chopped off, he somehow managed to live a full 1.5 years headless.
It's actually very common knowledge that pigs eat everything, which is scary. That's why pork meat, you gotta know who you get that meat from, man. Because what they eat is what we eat because we eat them. So if you're getting your pork or your pig meat from someone that's suspicious, just be careful. Because you don't want to eat what they ate, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe.